mind as loud as I could, "Stop! You're killing me!" I said, yelled that in my mind. And as soon as I yelled that in my mind, the back tire of the trailer ran over my head.
So, family, and welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Haji, and this is Amazing NDE Stories. Our guest today is Sharon Kumara. Sharon, welcome to the show.
Oh, hi, Haji. I'm very honored. I feel very honored, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Perfect, perfect. Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. So, Sharon, jump right in and tell us about your amazing NDE experience.
Of course. Well, I'd like to start with I was raised Catholic in this lifetime, but I was never really religious at all. My immediate family was not religious. And so that's a little bit of background for me with my story. I did believe in a higher power. I believed in God and a higher power, and I also believed in Jesus. I knew that he was there somehow, some way, and that he did walk the planet. But I felt like he was out of reach. I just couldn't quite reach him. And that what I was taught in our religion. So this near death experience start was in 2001. I've actually had two. In 2001 was the one that was a catalyst for me to help me remember one when I was 9 years old, and I was living in San Antonio, Texas, and I was a pretty normal person. Normal as normal is. I worked for an oil company in an office environment, and I partied, and I kind of figured that's what life was all about. I was a partier. Oh, okay, well, that was fun. That's it. you know, go through life that way. Didn't really have any good relationships at the time. Wasn't just not on a spiritual path, I should say. And so my girlfriends and I went down the Guadalupe River in New Braunfels, Texas. We were tubing down the river for a birthday of one of my friends. It was her birthday, and we that's how we celebrated. And so we had a really good day going down the river, and we got off when we came out of the river to get back onto the shuttle bus. That was the transportation for us, and also to take us back to the outrigger where we had left our cars. So we went to get on the shuttle bus, and also pulls a trailer that holds our ice chests and our inner tubes. We went to get on the shuttle bus, and I was the first one of my group, and I saw that it was full, and it was a little school bus that holds 13 people. And so they said, "Oh, come on, come on," because there was people piling on behind me. Like, go on, it's only a couple miles away. You can stand up. So I climbed on, and I was the first one of my group, and I was up against not against, but the emergency exit door of the bus was at my back. And so we got cramped in there, all crushed in there basically, and the bus driver was driving down the road, and it was a four on the floor, or a manual drive, and as he was shifting through gears, it was jerking us back and forth, and there wasn't really anything for us to hold on to. So, and when he left a stoplight and he shifted into from second to third, I was thrown up against the emergency exit door, and I fell out. It popped open, and I fell out. And I and I remember falling onto I remember thinking, actually, first thought was, I can't believe I'm falling out of this bus. That was my first thought. And I bounced on the trailer hitch. My back hit the trailer hitch. I bounced on that, bounced onto the pavement on my back, and bounced again onto my side. And when I was on my side, I remember, or what happened was, I thought to myself, and I yelled in my mind as loud as I could, "Stop! You're killing me!" Yelled that in my mind. And as soon as I yelled that in my mind, the back tire of the trailer ran over my head. Yeah, and my neck and my head right here. I and that's when I popped out of my body. So I knew that that not he was going to kill me, but that the event was going to kill me. And so I popped out of my body. And then the next thing I know is I'm floating above my body and floating above the scene, I don't know, 20 feet or so, looking at the scene. And I see my body in the road. And the next thing I see is or notice is a commuter bus driving up to where my body is and driving. And I thought, I hope that bus doesn't run over my body because that would make a really big mess. And I didn't feel any attachment to my body. I didn't feel upset or scared or fearful. I had the thoughts that, all right, well, I've done this before. I died. I died. And so I've left my body. I've died. And I've done this before. And this is just another way of me dying. Just another, I just know that I died. I, I knew in my mind that I had done it many times before. And so I thought about that. And I also, my next thought was about my friends, that this was a really good day. And it made me feel kind of sad because this was going to ruin the good time we had. And they're, and they're going to be like, not, and my friend especially not going to want to celebrate her birthday and, blah, 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 and all this. And then I end up dying on them. We had such a good day. I end up dying on them. They're going to it's going to be tough on them, having a good time after this. Um, with that in mind, and then I thought about my sister, or my boyfriend, actually my partner at the time, and I thought, well, he'll be sad for a while. And I actually saw him sitting on the sofa, and I said he'll be sad for a while, but he'll get over it. And we had been together at that point maybe 7 or 6 years. And then my sister, who I was am really close to, I thought about her, and then how this is going to really hurt her. But she has her family. She had 2 boys and a husband. She has, and she'll have their support. And then I thought about my mom, who I basically take care of, that just lived down the road from me, and she was elderly, and not really, her health wasn't real well at that time. I thought about her. When I thought about her, I felt a presence on my right side, and I turned around and I noticed that it was my stepdad, who had died in 1998, which was 3 years earlier. And I was really happy to see him. I recognized him right away. And the first thing he says to me is, "It's not your time." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I was like confused. Wait a minute. And he did mention that, and this was telepathic, it wasn't through words, that my mother needed me, that I was going to help her with her transition. Her transition wouldn't be that far off, which was true. And that she needed me there, and that I basically still had things I needed to clear up, needed to do, that type of communication. And then as we're communicating, as we're talking, I feel another movement to my right, and I see a tunnel, a portal opening up, because I'm not ready to go back. And I notice in the tunnel that there is, or portal, that there is my ancestors. Some I recognize on this plane, and some that I wouldn't have recognized in this body on this plane, but I knew that they were my ancestors. And that starts to open up, and they don't look really happy that I'm there. You know what I mean? Because I was expecting a celebration, a welcome home, that kind of thing. And their faces were just kind of not really happy, not celebratory and welcoming. So that gave me a hint that dad was right, kind of thing. I mean, all these thoughts are going through my head. And then as I'm noticing the portal, or noticing them, and I'm actually moving toward it, I'm moving toward the portal, I see another portal behind or in the back of, it's hard for me to say, which is a huge golden white portal. And like the sun, it looks like the sun, beautiful golden white, and it doesn't hurt my eyes, and I'm gazing at it, and I'm mesmerized by that portal. And I see a figure come out of the portal, and almost right away. And he's in a white robe and long brown hair. I recognize him as Jesus Christ, who I call Yeshua. And he's coming toward me. And as soon as I recognize him, I fly to him. I just fly. And we embrace. He embraces me right away. And I've missed him so bad. I didn't even know that I missed him. I didn't know how badly I missed him. I had no idea until I was in his presence. And he tells me the same thing that my dad tells me, that it's not my time. He says it's not your time. And I say, well, I want to stay with you. And he chuckles, he laughs, and which is the most beautiful sound in the whole world, right? In all the universe. And uh and he at that and it's hard to describe in a timeline, but at some point while we're communicating, and he's basically trying to talk me into it on a telepathic level sort of thing, letting me know that I still have work to do, that type of thing too, um or that my mission isn't finished. Thank you. uh we I look into his eyes. I look into his eyes, and his eyes, how I saw his eyes was they were bright blue. I mean, just so much light coming out of them, bright blue. And I recognized as I'm looking into his eyes, the universe in his eyes. He held the whole universe, a multiverse, however we want to look at it, but he held that, and I was drawn in to his eyes, and we merged. There was a merging there where where I was in what we call the light. I was in that universal light, and we were merging where he was me and I was him, and I couldn't tell the difference between us. I was just light. I was filled with light. I was the light. It was tangible. The light was tangible. The light is tangible. The light is intelligence. It is intelligent. And I knew that there wasn't anything that I could or had said or done that could keep me from this immense love and support. And I hesitate to say forgiveness because there's really nothing to forgive. You know what I mean? We're there was so much support for our humanity, for who we are as a soul, for our soul, and the mistakes that we have made, everything that we might have felt ashamed of, or felt like we failed at, all that kind of thing was gone. It was gone. And so there's so much love there that it was unimaginable. And if I could have been smiling, at my whole, if I was in my physical form, my whole face would have broken, because because it was just I was just one big smile that goes on forever. And and so, and I don't know how long we were in that, but the next thing I know, I hear his voice again, and I'm back as Sharon, and he asked me if I would like to go on a journey with him. And I say yes, of course. And he extends his hand. I put my hand in his, and I love sharing this because at that point I felt the feeling of his hand was more physical than even we can imagine. I just felt every single line and crevice in his hand, and how intensely physical it was, that it was just so our senses are dulled here compared to in the higher planes. So it was just a really intense feeling within his hand, with my hand in his. So as soon as I put my hand in his, we're flying through the cosmos, and I mean, I just see all these lights and stars and planets, lights, different color lights flying by us. And then we come upon I see a blue, looks like a blue orb, in the distance, and we get closer, it gets closer. I don't know if the universe is flying through us or we're flying through the universe, and it gets closer, we get closer to it, and I see that it's a portal, and so we dive into the portal. He takes me and we dive into the portal, and when we're through the portal, this blue portal, I see another orb, and it's a turquoise color. It's more of a turquoise color, and we move toward that, and I see that it's a planet, a planetoid. It's a planet, and I recognize this planet right away as a home world for me, and it's a water world, an ocean world. As we fly toward it or get closer to it, I'm remembering this planet. I connect to the consciousness of the planet, and I become the consciousness of the planet. I'm merging with the consciousness of the planet, and I feel so much love and so much caring and compassion for every sentience, on everything on my body. My body is the planet. Everything on my body. I love my body so much. I love every little part of my my planetoid body that makes up my body, all the beings, everything. And I realized that I actually have I feel female in that form, and I also have a masculine part of me that is part of the planetoid, this consciousness, if that makes sense. And I feel his, the masculine part of me, this sense of complete and unimaginable love, and that he had missed me as much as I miss him. Okay, as I was being reunited with him, because I'm a part of this whole planet, this whole consciousness, this whole matrix. And so there was that reunion from that standpoint, or that consciousness place of the planet's consciousness, and those beings. and then we are moving down. I'm back as me, Sharon, and we're moving down toward the planet, and I see the oceans, and then we dive in, and I become a what we like to call mermaids, mer person, a aquatic being, and we're like mers with a human and fish-like body. That's all I can say. And people are like, oh, you're crazy, whatever. I'm like, it has to come from somewhere, right? But yeah, that's what we were. That's what we are. And I was reunited with my family, my mate, which is that form of the higher mate. I saw that I had children, babies. I met my not met, but was reunited with my parents. And I stayed there for I don't know how long, a lifetime, maybe, who knows. And so I had that journey, which was beyond words, and words that I can express. And at some point I come back, I feel Yeshua's voice bringing me back, and I realized, okay, well, I do have a mission on earth that I haven't finished, because he helped me remember that. I made a deal with him. I said, all right, I'll go back, because he needed my permission. I'll go back, but you have to make sure that I know that you're with me every step of the way on my journey, the rest of my journey on earth, however long that is. And he said, okay, deal. And then I'm back in my body in the middle of the road, and I jump up and run to the side of the road. I can share that my body was basically healed. I mean, unless anybody cares about that. I mean,
yeah. No, definitely. We want to know that you were okay.
Well, I don't know about this part, but yeah. Yeah. uh, I jumped up and went to the side of the road, and my friends are around me. Yeah, my ear was bleeding. I was in shock. They did call an ambulance. The bus finally stopped a couple blocks up the road. He didn't know I had fallen out. After he finally heard screaming from my friends, and because it's loud on there, there was probably 20 people or 25 people, something like that. It was really packed. And so and so he stopped and called it in. They called an ambulance, and the ambulance came and got me and put me on one of those spine stabilizers on a stretcher, kind of stretcher. And come to find out, I didn't have nothing was broken. I didn't have a concussion, although they were worried about my ear bleeding, thinking it was a concussion, but my ear was torn apart, so they had to glue it back together. So yeah, um, they teased me in the hospital about having tire tracks across my head. Yeah, so I mean, I have road rash, and I do have 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 to maintain my back and my neck and my head and that kind of thing. And so there's little things that stayed with me from it, but by the grace of God, Yeshua taking me in the light, that the whole experience, and angels, whatever, the whole 9 yards, I came out of it pretty good. Yeah. As I was working with Yeshua, I actually promised him that I would be in my room in meditation every night at 9 p.m. with meditation with him. And I started remembering my childhood. I didn't remember a lot about my childhood. As an adult, I kept thinking that's really weird that I don't remember. I have huge blank spaces in my childhood. And so when I was working with him, I started remembering, memories started coming to the surface of my childhood, and also past lives, all kinds of crazy stuff, which I had no idea about at that time. So these memories, first off, these memories came up where I was seeing that an extended family member was, as a child, I was being abused by an extended family member. And at one point during that, one of those instances, the extended family member had hit me so hard uh, that I popped out of my body again through my head. And that was a very different NDE. So when I popped out of my body that time, I was in a dark space, floating in a dark space. First of all, I want to say that the pain was excruciating for a split second. And when I popped out of my body, I felt this immense peace, pure peace, which is what I also felt in 2001. But it wasn't as immense as when I was 9. There was just something about this immense peace, and I was floating in this black space, which I've heard other people since then call it the void, right? I didn't know what it was when I was remembering it, and it was this dark space, and I uh, I was just feeling really supported again, or before, for once, the first time, and just feeling really supported and totally in that space of support and love. And it was more support and peace. Okay. And as I'm laying there, I'm starting to remember that there's more to me than this 9-year-old girl. My consciousness begins to expand, and I'm hearing this sound like music, but it's vibrational music. It's not really music. It's vibrational. It's hard to describe, and it's and I remember that I'm having these memories where I am a part of this. I'm a part of this vibrational music, this vibration, and the universe. And I knew that if anything was out of balance, within this space, that there was something on the other end of it that would put it back in balance, in harmony. The vibration of the music, the sound frequency, whatever it was, that sound was just immense and enveloping. I knew that everything was in harmony there. There couldn't be anything out of space, out of harmony, because there was always something that the frequency, the sound frequency, would put it back in harmony. And it had to be, everything had to be in this perfect harmony. And I'm floating in that space, and I'm just enjoying that. And I'm being put back in harmony, basically. I'm part of this space, this frequency, this vibration. And as I'm floating there, I am brought back to me as something catches my attention. I'm brought back to me as Sharon, and I see out of, again, on the right side, I see a light from the corner of my eye, and I noticed a white light approaching a portal, and out of this portal, and I'm not looking straight at it, I just see it because I I don't want to leave this space, and I see the being is coming out of the portal is Jesus Christ, Yeshua. This is the first time. And he approaches me, and I'm righted to face him as this girl, 9-year-old girl, but I have more awareness than this 9-year-old girl. And he says to me, and I'll never forget this, he says to me, "You've suffered enough, my child. You don't have to go back." And I say to him, "But I haven't finished what I was supposed to do. I want to go back. I need to go back. I haven't finished. I don't want to start over. We're having this conversation," because I would have had to reincarnate to start over. I knew that. I just knew it. I had this awareness. And he says, "Are you sure?" And I say, "Yes." And then I'm back in my body on the earth plane. And that's a whole other story. Well, I've written a book over 10 years in the making of my 2 NDEs in the aftermath of those experiences, and how Yeshua helped me he of course saved my life, and helped me with my spiritual awakening, and being able to do what I do now, and be able to maneuver through this life with a lot more ease and grace. It doesn't mean it was easy. It was not easy, but so I wrote it over the many years, and I journal everything, and it's been quite the journey, and in the hopes that it might help someone who has had very crazy experiences in their spiritual awakening, that maybe they can't put their finger on it, or are hard to talk about or understand. So this book is kind of a mind blower. It is for me if I was reading it for someone else. Anyway, it's due to be published June 21st. It's at the publisher now. I have had a meeting with her today about it, and we're almost got the cover done, and pre-sale will be we'll have the pre-sale up in a week or two. We're still working on that, but it is tentative title is God's Opus. I'm gonna cry that.
Oh,
Yeah, and
why?
that's okay. God's Opus, my near-death experience with Christ and the water world. If they want to, along those lines, go to my website. I'll have a page up there soon.
Okay.
And we're, like I said, we just met today, where we're going to finish up the cover. The cover is gorgeous. I love it so much. And get the
And
title.
your website is?
Oh, SharonSananda.com. SharonSananda.com.
Okay, perfect. All right. Just want to make sure they have the information, and I'll have it come
Okay.
up, All right, now we can jump into Q&A.
Yay!